Hi there guys, welcome to a brand new video. So first things first, apologies for the delay on this one. There's a bit of a problem with my newsagent, which meant I only got it today. Normal service will be resumed this week, so my next review will only be a day or so behind this one. Anyway, we'll get to the competition winner later on for issue number 19, Lord Felthius. And I'll do that at the end of the video. So if you are tuning into this just to find out if you won and you didn't win, do not despair. There's another competition in about a week's time. Issue 24 and 25 is a combined issue of the Redemptive Dreadnought. So I'll be doing a competition for that in a couple of weeks' time anyway. So here we go, episode 22. No minis this week. We've got a texture paint, which is Astro Granite. We've got a base brush. Now, this brush, I'm going to tell you, this is too good for basing miniatures with. Don't use this for basing your miniatures. Any old crappy brush you've got, if you've got kids, use one of their crappy brushes. Any brush you've got is dead, or the one that is kind of the least good of your brushes. Save this for something a little bit better. But that's just my opinion. And if you've got a texture basing tool, even better. That's much better for the job. So let's get in to the magazine. Battles of the Death Guard, Worlds of the Imperium, learning to base your models. In this issue, the Codex Astartes, learn more about the important book Space Marines follow. Chronicles of Virulence, read about the Death Guard's most famous battles. Sons of the Emperor, learn about the origins of the Space Marines. Worlds of the Imperium, discover the varied worlds of the Imperium. How to paint bases, and then we've got our new missions. So Rules Mission 2, supply drop down. The Ultramarines and Death Guard clash over vital supplies. Setting up a battlefield to add to Tutorial 21, so part 2 of Tutorial 21. And defend the spoils of war, Rules Mission 3. With the supplies secured, the victor must defend them. Okay, so let's get into it. The Codex Astartes. The Codex Astartes is not only a manual for the organisation and tactics of Space Marine chapter, it also contains many pages of guidance written to ensure the gene seed of the various Primarchs is kept as pure as possible so that new Space Marines can be created, safe from the taint of chaos. So this gives us some stuff about the Horus Heresy, but this is interesting. So that's more so that broadens our chapters volume a little bit. Deviations among chapters. Differences in gene seed and training often lead to stark differences between Space Marine chapters. Over the millennia, frequent encounters of certain foes, the culture of their recruits, or mutation in their gene seed may change the nature of a chapter. Though it is rare, entire chapters have been undone by the mutation of a single gene seed organ, the corruption of their recruiting stock, unacceptable deviation in the doctrines, or battle with an overwhelming foe. So that's good. And then we've got a little bit about the difference in makeup because of the gene seed of Ultramarines, Salamanders and Iron Hands. Okay, so next up we've got Death Guard Legion 5, Chronicles of Virulence. For 10,000 years, the Death Guard have mercilessly slaughtered the servants of the false Emperor. They've spread plague and sickness across the stars and wear their enemies down with relentless determination. Countless worlds have been infected. Armies beyond number have been destroyed or corrupted beneath their advance. They continue to fight the long war in the name of their Primarch Mortarion and almighty Nurgle. Their battle record is long and filled with accounts of terrible deeds. Okay. So M31 into Damnation, it's got stuff about the Destroyer and the rise of the Plague Planet. So that's good. I'll read this bit here actually. Timelines can be confusing for the uneducated masses of the Imperium. In a timeline of events spanning thousands of years, the millennium in which an event occurred is expressed for as an M, followed by the number of millenniums. For example, events listed as happening in M31 will have happened in the 31st millennium, between the years 30,000 and 31,000. Okay, cool. Then more stuff. M32 to M41, the time of remission. This is really interesting actually. So it's bridging the gap from Warhammer 30k to 40k for some of this. I hope this gets expanded a lot. Very, very cool. Okay, the Great Crusade, 40k history number 7. With his legion of Space Marines at his side, the Emperor of Mankind was ready to take to the stars and reclaim worlds lost to mankind. This conquest of the galaxy would come to be known as the Great Crusade. Awesome. So that's good. Then we move forward to 40k factions 1.2, worlds of the Imperium. The Imperium is made up of many types of worlds. Some provide fuel and supplies for the war machine, that is the Imperium, whilst others are death traps full of lethal flora and fauna. Each type of world is carefully placed into a category by the Adeptus Administratum. So you've got mining worlds, research stations / fortress worlds, and death worlds. Feral worlds and feudal worlds. Interesting, very interesting. And then a little bit about the Exterminatus. Okay, how to paint bases. Adding detail to the bases of your model is an excellent way to make them look even more eye-catching. With a layer of astrogranite on their bases, your models will really look like they are fighting in the battlefields of the 41st millennium. Okay, so that's cool. So what will you need? You need a pot of clean water, a piece of tissue or kitchen roll to dry your brush with, the Citadel medium base brush that you received with this issue, and your pot of astrogranite texture paint. So like I say, if you've got an old duffer brush that you've already used, save this. Because it's actually, do you know what? Issue number 1, the brushes were crap. They were awful. But I've noticed that all of the brushes we've got intermediately since then are the proper Citadel ones. And we all know that there's better paint brushes out there. But this is too good to just dip straight in your texture paints. So yeah, save that brush and find an old duffer one. You can apply texture paints such as astrogranite straight from the pot. There is no need to thin them with water. Okay, so what it's given you here is how to base it for each model. So it starts with a librarian and goes through all of our different types, which is cool. So what I would do actually for this is I'd give it a lumpy layer of astrogranite, and when that's dried I'd give it a little dry brush of maybe the grey one that we got. I think it's Administratum grey or Mechanicus grey. Give it a little dry brush of that afterwards. It will really show the definition. Okay, yeah, and the same for the Death Guard. But these have got some slightly different stuff. So there's some Bugman's Glow to go on to Lord Felthius's one, and a few other little minor differences. But very cool anyway. Very cool. Okay, so this is it. Oh, look, nice. Here's like a little overview page of where we are so far. Check out your armies. So it's got what we've got so far for our Space Marines and where we are up to date with our Death Guard. So that's good, that's good. Now let's move on to our kind of missions section. And we've got supply drop down. Though the fighting was difficult, the Space Marines have established the landing zone. The Death Guard, however, still dominate the planet and are marauding across its surface. The sounds of war echo across the planet as battles rage on all sides. Vox channels are thick with the request of reinforcements and the terrified screams of human defenders. Unfortunately for the defenders, a vital supply ship was hit en route to the landing zone. A great deal of weapons and supplies survived, but they're now scattered in enemy territory. Space Marines must fight their way through the Death Guard lines and recover these vital supplies in order to assist the defenders of Corvom 2. Okay, so there's actually quite a lot of background for that mission, which I love. You know, that give us some more of the narrative, so that's really good. So this is our setup. We've got a 6-inch deployment zone either side. Our Death Guard army is 3 Plague Marines, 12 Poxwalkers, Lord Felthius and the Tainted Cohort. And our Space Marines are 5 Intercessors, 2 Hellblasters, 3 Aggressors, 5 Reavers and Lieutenant Calcius. So that's good. We're starting to get bigger armies involved. Blah, 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 blah. Deployment. Each player places a container. The containers must be 6 inches from each other and 3 inches from the table edges. Players roll off to see who chooses a deployment zone. That player sets up a unit. Okay, then it's alternating deployment of units. The player who did not choose a zone gets the first turn. Okay, and the victory conditions are 2 victory points for every container you hold. And to do that, you have to have more models within 3 inches. 1 victory point for each enemy unit eliminated. 2 victory points for each character eliminated. And the game lasts for 5 rounds. Okay, so that's interesting. That's a good mission. That is a good mission. Okay, next there's tutorial part. So in addition to tutorial 21, setting up your own battlefield. Like your previous mat, your Corvon 2 mat has a blank side without printed terrain. You can use it to make your own setups using the terrain you have. We explained some methods to this in issue 20. Here's an expanded guide on how to do it with your new mat. So that's cool. Very good. I love it that we've got through our first whole bunch of rules and stuff, and now we're just getting into different types of missions to play. That's really cool. Okay, and that's more that information. Okay, our next rules mission 3, defending the spoils of war. So this is post securing the supply drop, whoever's managed to secure it. Withdrawing from the fight for the containers, the victorious army now has the vital supplies. Okay, and so here's our setup for this. We have got a defender deployment zone in the middle, which is 12 inches from the centre. And then we've got attacker deployment zones can deploy from either side 3 inches from the edge of the table. The armies are Death Guard, 5 Plague Marines, 12 Poxwalkers, the Foul Blightspawn, and the Biologous Putrefier. The Space Marines are 5 Intercessors, 2 Hellblasters, 3 Aggressors, and Lieutenant Calcius. And then deployment is what I just said there. Victory conditions are you get a victory point for every unit in play at the end of the game. The attacker gains 1 victory point for every unit that ends the game in the defender's deployment zone. And the game lasts for 5 battle rounds. So there's actually no victory condition for killing opponents. It just however many you kill deducts the amount of victory points they'll have at the end. So that's really cool. Okay, so your next conquests. Issue 23, learn about the Nurglings, detailed guides and new terrain. So we've got battlefield accessories, which is more barrels and some more smaller terrain elements to add on there. Learn about Chaos Demons and add new Model T missions, that's fine. And then issue 24, Redemptor Dreadnought Part 1. So learn about Dreadnoughts, discover Death Guard Hellbrutes, and exciting new missions. So the Dreadnought is going to be collected in issue 24 and 25. And so what I've done is I've ordered an extra copy of both 24 and 25, and that's going to be our next competition. But there'll be more on that next week. So if you don't win today's, check into this one. So that all looks pretty good. Let's have a quick look at all of these quotes that were down the bottom, because they're really cool. So I'll quickly tell you what they are. A treacherous thought is as dangerous as 100 bullets. Death and duty are all we must give. Hope is a luxury. Sins hidden in the heart turn all to decay. To question is to doubt. The innocent must be sacrificed to ensure that the guilty are punished. Through all our means, we follow the Emperor's command. Innocence proves nothing. Nothing of value was earned without pain. There's no cowardice in failure. And that's it. All right, excellent. So, one final thing. I needed the extra time this week to go through all of the comments from issue number 19. And then to make sure that everyone had commented that are subscribers. So what I did was I whittled that down and I drew out of the hat. So if your username is James P, get in touch with me. Just drop me an email at mike@foible, foible.co.uk. That's mike@foible.co.uk. Send me over your full name and address and I will get issue number 19 posted out to you. So my requirement for this was that if you comment and subscribe, and as long as that video got over 1,000 views, which it did, this was the prize. So I'll be doing more of these again in upcoming issues. So if you want to be part of those coming up, all you need to do is kind of, when those competitions happen, subscribe and drop a comment, and that's it. So James P, send me over a message, mate, and I'll get this posted out to you. So thanks for that, guys. Like I say, like and subscribe and all that good stuff. So for me, I've had a lot of new subscribers in the last month or so, and I really, really appreciate your support. It's great. So that's enough from me. Have a good couple of days, and I'll catch you with episode 23 very soon. See you later.